What's going on YouTube? Modeling that back at you. So got the first part, build part here, kind of ready to go. So spent a few hours working on it and got this far. This was just a test fit, just to kind of see how everything was fitting together. So let me go ahead and carefully pull that off. So in that, I got the main engine block assembled here. Let me lock that in. So I got that ready to go. Also kind of in a little tray that I have here. I got the cogs, which I know I might have mentioned it as resin parts that were in the little baggies. They're actually plastic, so that's kind of nice because I get to use just standard plastic glues. I've got the top part of my suspension all locked in here. There we go. That was locked. So I got the suspension parts ready to go into paint. Got the axle, rear axle, as well as the front axle completed. But yeah, so really pretty nice so far. Things are going together really well. I would say, just as a recommendation, as it is with any like really heavy CAD drawn molds, things like that, just make sure to test fit everything before you kind of put it together so that you kind of know what you're getting yourself into with it. In fact, I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I did go ahead and glue that in. So I have the front axle glued in here. I have the front suspension part with the roller, because I'm actually doing the M2 version of this, not the A1. I think I might have mentioned that I was going to do the A1. The PE parts go on really nice. Just a little bit of super glue, push them down. They locked in there, so those will look great. With the hooks, really super detailed and super nice looking frame here. So we have the rear suspension pieces at the back here all together. I would say also, if you're building this kit, just be cognizant that this can be installed upside down, as I did install it upside down. So just make sure that the two little holes that are for the rear supports here are going to the top. I had put them originally on the bottom, and then about 20 minutes later found out, whoops, wrong thing, so, or wrong place. So the other area, and they do call it out in the instructions, I just wanted to note, is around for, I believe it is one of the transmission parts here, as well as for the steering box. Just make darn sure you pay attention to get them lined up with the block that's on the actual frame itself. So, but yeah, nice thing is, with everything glued in place, the roller still just moves freely, spins. It is kind of a pain that they put it into two parts, but just with some sanding and stuff like that, you can really get it looking like a nice roller there on the front. The interior, went ahead and got that all in. I don't think I'll have too much problems getting that painted. I did leave, obviously, the dash off because I want to get that painted kind of as a separate. Leave me a little room to do some detail painting with the pedals, which are molded in to the floor, things like that. So went ahead and also just got the entire hood assembly. I realized I didn't fully glue in, so probably just tack that in here tonight. But I got the hood on, everything like that. Really goes together nicely. Fits together really well. No real gaps or anything really to worry about. So definitely super nice on that. The front grille, went ahead and got the PE parts. This was one of the areas that I'd kind of messed with before. I'd actually painted these with a brush. So use some just lacquer thinner. What I usually use to clean up my airbrush, which is just cheap lacquer thinner that I get at Do It Best here in the US, but I think almost any hardware store would carry it. They are obviously a little bit bent here. That was for two reasons. One, when I actually cut them off the metal sprue, which, as you can see, I mean, the sprue itself's flat as it almost can be, but as soon as they were separated, they curled. So just maybe take note that might happen if you have this kit. The other thing I had to do was actually sand just a little bit off of each side, just to get them to slide in correctly, so that they weren't just bending in a way that they weren't supposed to. So I'm gonna go with this one. It's been out, it's been used a little bit, so it's just going to have a little bit of damage with those vents, just from various use. Things like that, being open like this, taking a knock. Especially this top one probably got bent, a few times. The bottom ones are obviously a little bit straighter, so yeah. Obviously keeping all of the tools off of this until I get those painted as a separate, and then I'll get them all on. The other part that I will have to admit was kind of a really funky one to put in is this here. Obviously you have the beams that extend over onto the runner board, but it just didn't sit quite right. So again, that's where test fitting came really much into its own. So yeah, got a lot done here within the first kind of build session here. Like I said, it took me about 2-3 hours just to get to this point. The other thing is, again, just think about painting. Was debating about putting that front axle in because I'm going to actually spray this with engine gray for the oil pan. But after looking at it, it's going to be pretty simple. Spray that engine gray, then mask that off. So, oops, make sure I keep you in frame. Spray that with the engine gray and then mask that off before doing the green for the rest of the frame. So yeah, just kind of keep some of that in mind. Outside of that, really, there's no complaints. Obviously, as it is with any injection molded kit, there's quite a bit of seam lines that ran down through there, so just lightly sanding those off, making sure not to hit any details, things like that. Same with here in the back, just a little bit of trying to get it to line up and sand off the backs of these here just to get them to lay perfectly flat, or as flat as I could possibly get them into the frame to where they actually look like more of a single piece, obviously with a little join line there. But yeah, like I said, looking really pretty good to this point. Like I said, the fitment is going to be really nice just to lock everything in. Like I said, even without glue, it actually pretty well holds together. So definitely cannot complain with the finished product that Dragon put out in this kit. Looking really nice, and looking forward to proceeding on with the next kind of part, getting the back area built up as a separate. That way, again, get it all painted and stuff like that. So, yeah. Any questions, comments, definitely post them down below. Definitely look forward to reading through some of the comments. If you know anybody who's interested in kind of World War II history and or building kits, these Dragon kits, definitely feel free to share it. Like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And until next time, I will catch you later. Peace.